Evildea. And he has, he's a hunter. This guy's on a hunt, on a crusade to find all of those fake polyglots. And I'm here for the ride. I've got my popcorn. I've got my stuff. And I saw this interesting title, so I kind of wanted to check it out. It's a short video.
What's up, grinders? Welcome back to the channel. As of recently, we've been on kind of like a witch hunt out there, killing, bloodletting, basically, you know, purifying the community of language learners. But today I want to try something different.
Guy.
I want to try uplift someone.
Good.
See, I get hundreds of comments on this channel every single day, and I try to respond to as many of them as I can. Most of the time, my responses are quite short. It's like just basically a thumbs up or 100% I agree. But sometimes I go into a little bit more depth. But it is really hard to try and keep up with all of these comments. And I just want you guys to know that even if I don't respond, I probably have read your comment. I've just like read it while scrolling.
Same.
Trying to get through the other comments as I can. So I'm not out here ignoring you guys. Now, what I want to do today is I actually want to focus in on one comment which I got today. And when I was reading this comment, it actually, you know, raised some interesting ideas, or like it presented an interesting problem. And now I want to try and solve this problem. Now, I'm going to present my solutions, but I'm hoping that we as a community can work together and provide some interesting like solutions to this problem.
Right.
So here is the comment. I've got it up on my screen right now, and I'm going to summarize.
Okay, so before I jump into that, let me see, because there is one of the... Oh yeah, I found it.
What's up?
This is it. This is it. Sorry, wrong video. I mean, then again, it was good because it gave an interesting introduction. He's on a witch hunt, but I think he found something. This is what I wanted. This hyperpolyglot is a fraud. He does these like accusations, but he presents the facts. This guy, that's why I like this guy, is all about facts. Let's go.
What's up, grinders? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be tearing the ass out of another hyperpolyglot. You think
Let's
you
go.
would have learned by now, but apparently not.
Let's go.
So today we're going to do a takedown on Victor, a hyperpolyglot, out of Brazil. Now, this guy claims to speak 40 languages. Not only
it's always 40 languages, isn't it? 40 languages. Also, what is a hyperpolyglot as opposed to just a regular polyglot? So a regular polyglot knows what? 6 languages? Hyper 40? Is that what makes you hyper polyglot? Learn any language up to conversational level in just 3 months. Yeah. Yeah. What is he selling?
Claims to speak them, but have to mastered them. And he runs various courses in which you can buy into his course, and within 3 months you will be fluent in a number of languages, not just one.
Oh, seriously?
But multiple languages.
Oh, come on.
So we're going to deep dive into this guy, find out how much
How haven't they learned? How haven't they learned?
A hyper polyglot he is, and I guess also take a look at everything else along the way.
Please.
Now, this has been a massive effort from me and my community because this guy's a little bit slimy. He's managed to hide all of these things in various locations, so it's not an easy takedown like my previous video. If you haven't seen that one,
I did.
where I take down Akram or whatever his name is,
that's why we're here.
Link in the description. Go click on it. Check it out. Okay, so first up, let's hear him what he's got to say in his own words.
Please.
Como seria falar várias línguas, talvez até mais de 10 ou 20. Imagina agora dominar mais de 40 idiomas. Olá, meu nome é Vitor, eu tenho 20 anos, sou do Brasil e já aprendi mais de 40 idiomas.
I don't speak Portuguese. However, look at the top of this and I see the word dominar or dominar. I don't know how you guys read it. More than 40. So you, I guess plural. I don't know what this is, but dominar is like is it to master? Because sounds like Italian dominare or avere dominio. We wouldn't use it this way. It sounds like he's talking about mastering, like having very high level. Yeah, there we go. It seems impossible. It is impossible. And you can do it easily. Is that what he's saying?
Okay, so he talks about mastering 40 languages and he's learned 40 languages. Let's see how far the rabbit hole goes.
Okay.
Now, first up on his Instagram, he posts all the certificates to prove his capabilities in these different languages.
HSK.
Now, I am proficient in Mandarin Chinese, and
of
course I've
yeah, Evildea's Chinese is really good. I know he looks like an attack dog right now, which he is, which is one of the things he is, but he's only when he has to be. You know, when he did the debunking of the previous scam YouTuber situation that spoke 50 languages, he actually treated him with kitty gloves. But today he's in attack dog mode, so this guy really is gonna deserve it probably because he doesn't do that usually. All right. But yeah, his Chinese is legit. Last time he was like, he said, because he reviewed one of my videos in Mandarin Chinese, and you can see that if he thinks you're a fraud, he's going to say it. And he actually said that he thinks that me and him have the same level of Chinese. The reality of fact is that Evildea is more fluent than me. That's what I think, honestly, because he can make sentences very, very quickly. I think he's faster than me. But anyways, just to say, he knows Chinese.
Notice the HSK one there, but that ain't a certificate. That is just an emblem. Now, we're going to take a look at his website right here. The website and all the details for all these locations will be in the description down below. And also, there will be a massive document that I will include in the description that you guys can refer back to. That will include tons more information than I could possibly ever put in this one video. So let's take a look at this website. Okay, as you can see right here, we have a description for Mr. Victor. It says, Victor is a hyperpolyglot, passionate about language learning, has revolutionized the way to study new languages. He has learnt more than 40 languages, and he provides a list of said 40 languages.
Yeah, right. Swedish, Scottish, Gaelic, English, Persian, Polish. You see, we need to really identify what has learned means. Because, once again, if he's connecting it to dominar, and we've got our translator here helping us out, reaching mastery, what languages do I feel I can say I've reached mastery in? Because, I mean, yeah, I can speak English, obviously it's my second language, I can stream in English confidently, but would I say I mastered English? And I do have a C2, but master is a massive word. And I make mistakes. I know I make mistakes. I know my pronunciation is not perfect. And I know there are people who speak English as a second language and they speak it better than me. But sure, maybe that's me being very technical. Let's say for a moment that if you are capable of doing this, you can turn on the camera and speak the language fluently. We consider that as the mastery of a language. Not perfection, because perfection is unachievable anyways, but that's pretty much the level. I would say I've reached mastery in English and Japanese. That's it. I wouldn't even consider my Mandarin. And I'm conversational, but that's not mastery. Being able to have a little bit of a conversation is not mastering a language. He has reached mastery Macedonian? Look, in Latin. Oh my gosh, tell me speaks Latin. Tell me speaks Latin.
Very interesting. And also, he gives a 7-day warranty for his courses. I guess that's really nice of him, but unfortunately, but why in God's name did he give a fluency guarantee? You cannot guarantee anyone that they will be fluent in a language.
Yeah. Okay,
and here is the course itself. Just for a small price of $119, you too can be a hyperpolyglot. Now, that's not his first web.
Yeah, on one way, I can understand people who are really passionate about language learning. And if you said, I'm interested in 40 languages, that's something I would commend. That's wonderful. I'm interested in probably 10, 15. So being interested, learning a little bit, maybe turning on the camera and saying, hey guys, look, I've just learned this sentence in Latin. But when you start asking people for money and making promises, that's when the hound dogs are going to be unleashed.
Website. He actually has a second website right here, where again, he claims that he achieved fluency in several languages, including Russian. Remember that one? Because that is one that we're going to have a little bit of a target on.
Yeah.
Okay, and then on this website, learn any language in 3 months. What is it with hyperpolyglots and 3 months?
Sometimes they say 3 weeks, so I mean, it doesn't matter. As long as this number is low, 3, and you don't put years, then whatever you put here, months, week, 3 sessions, 3 whatever the heck, the number is low. People that are struggling are going to believe this, they're going to give you money, they're going to fail, and then they're going to think it's their fault. Or realize it was a scam, allegedly. My opinion, for any legal possible repercussion, just sharing my opinions here.
They all seem to go for the 3 months. Like, that seems to be the sweet spot for them. Maybe it's just like people think, 3 months is not too hard. Now, let's check out, according to this, how much it costs to become a member of this specific website.
Right.
I'm trying to click on the button. Can't click on it. Why can't I click on it? Ah, there. We can click right there. Okay, cool. So it's $119.90. So you can see all his websites are basically going back to the same payment system.
Yeah.
And now this website here, this one's interesting. Again, he claims that he speaks 40 languages, blah, 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 provides the languages that he speaks. And now we're going to watch a video which he actually not only tells you that he's mastered these languages, but says if you do his course, you will be paid.
Idioma e ganhar dinheiro com isso. Parece loucura, mas eu quero te apresentar a língua de arena. o único curso que te paga para aprender um novo
So this course will pay you to learn a new language.
idioma. Mas antes disso, primeiro vou te mostrar como aprendi 40 idiomas tendo apenas 20 anos.
And again, he claims that he has learnt more than 40 languages.
That's what he said, right? Makarev, because aprendiro, whatever the heck, I don't know how he said it. I love the sound of it. Sounds like o appreso, apprendere, so like to learn. I think he did say that he learned 40 languages. Learned 40 languages. How? Which means you have reached, if you want to say you learned a language, I mean, he did say dominar, so whatever the heck, but even if you don't use that, you just say learned, and then someone says, well, speak it to me. And he just says one sentence, and then you start speaking fast Italian, and he's like, well, I didn't say I was super C2 level. Well, yeah, but I have learned a language. It means I can speak it fluently and I have no problems understanding it. That's how anyone would understand the expression, I've learnt this language. Not I'm learning, not I'm studying. I've learnt it. I've reached a reasonable level.
So we've heard the claim. Mastery in 40 languages, learnt 40 languages,
Yeah.
take it however you want, but it's clear that this guy thinks he's proficient enough to sell multiple courses across multiple websites.
Yeah.
And finally, we also have this video here from his Instagram where he was showing off Patreon. He no longer has Patreon, but on Patreon, he shows all the different courses that he was
Italiano.
A1, A2, B1, different levels for all the most random of languages. Now, one thing you will notice after a while is this guy seems to focus on languages that probably people in Brazil have never heard about. Or if they've heard about them, it's probably not a language that they're going to look into too much. See, this is what he does. He's very sneaky about these things. He likes to make videos and talk about languages that most people have never heard of. Hell, some of these languages...
Let's go. Finnish, Georgian, Hebrew, Hindi, Hungarian, Icelandic. I mean, it's not even just people in Brazil. I think anywhere you go and you say, what the heck is Kazakh? Again, sorry for those who speak it. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I'm saying from the perspective of people, unless you... Chuvash, or Bosnian, sure. Avar, I don't know what that is. And again, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to these people. If anything, I think someone who's using the fact that perhaps your language doesn't have a lot of speakers or is not usually taught. I see a Nihao at in the back here. Greenlandic. Kirkuids. Inuktitut. You guys want to have a conversation in Inuktitut?
Languages I hadn't heard of until my community started investigating them. And as you can see, course after course after course, every hyperpolyglot out there needs to obviously speak English well, right? Like that's the international language. If you're going to be a hyperpolyglot, you got to start with your English proof. This is where things get interesting.
Right.
This guy does not make videos in English, but he does claim to speak English, and that is evident from the fact that he has a profile online where he claims that he does English to Portuguese translation, Russian to Portuguese, and Ukrainian to Portuguese. Again, we're seeing these languages here. English, Russian, Ukrainian, okay? So clearly he must be able to at least read English.
Of course.
So what's his spoken capabilities like? This is the hard part. It is so hard to find even one video where this guy speaks any English, but I did manage to find two tiny little segments where he speaks English. Just be prepared, they're really fast.
Link in the bio. Today.
That's it.
Really?
Link in the biome.
Link in the bio.
Link in the bio.
Which was meant to be link in the bio. That was randomly...
Yeah, maybe the nasalization of the M. I don't know if it's a typical mistake from people who come from a Portuguese perspective. I don't know.
Slotted in one other video, and this word today, which was part of a greater video that had 80 words within it. So apparently his English abilities are basically link in the biome. So let's just say that...
Man, today, yeah, let's do that. So today will be kyo in Japanese. It will be 今天 in Chinese. It will be oggi in Italian. It would be oggi, ora in Sicilian, I guess. Anything else I can say? Aujourd'hui? Man, I'm a polyglot. Hyper? No, not yet, but I'm working on it.
Possibly able to read English and translate into Portuguese, but he clearly is not confident in speaking the language, otherwise he would have made videos actually speaking it. Now, I'm going to take a look at a very random language here, Hungarian. Now, I say random because he likes to speak all sorts of random languages, specifically Slavic ones. And then what he does is he basically just reads from the computer. And I'm going to break this down and show it to you. This is basically his MO. This is what he does in every video.
Minden ember szabadnak és jogokban egyedülnek születik és marad. A társadalmi különbségek
obviously reading.
közösség szempontjából való hasznosságon alapulnak.
So, as you can see right here, the video is small, the sound quality is a little bit bad, and it's a little bit far away from his face. It's kind of like zoomed out so you can't see what his eyes are doing. But he made a video with light. An Evildea got in there with the zoom tool, man. We're going to have a look at his eyes.
Hey, detective!
As he tries speaking Hungarian again in a different video. Watch those eyes.
Watch them.
Sziasztok, barátaim! Szeretném megosztani veletek egy kicsit a magyar tanulással.
Yeah, he's reading.
Tapasztalataimat, és remélhetőleg ez is segíthet.
Okay, clear as day, looking left, right, left, right.
Yeah.
Basically, he's just reading along, going back down and down and down. Now, we also had, obviously, comments on his Hungarian abilities, because that's what...
I don't know anything about Hungarian, so of course, if his pronunciation is bad, and then he's just reading, then anyone can do that. Anyone can do that. You can slap right now a thing in Portuguese. I'll butcher the pronunciation, but I can do that. I can read it. What does that prove? All right, we're not trying to attack people. You know, we belong to the language sphere. All right, when I say we, I mean me, Evildea, there are a few other people, creators, people that actually put work into learning the languages that we do speak. And so and not to mention, I mean, I'm a former teacher. I used to do this for a job, and before I became a full-time content creator and kind of stopped with the lessons, stopped teaching at school, I used to work for the European Funds of University and Research. I mean, when you see something like this, it's like, what?
What I do with my community, I feed it out and we work together to find out what's really happening. Now, let's go take a look at that massive document I mentioned at the beginning of the video. So here we go, the Evildea and community investigation of Victor.
Cool.
Victor. Anyway, let's jump down to the section that we're going to find very relevant to this guy. So we're going to go look for...
I would love to be investigated by Evildea, to be honest. I mean, not that he would, but because, I mean, obviously I can speak the languages I can, but it would be fun. Like, I would make a video and I would speak Mandarin, Japanese, Sicilian, Italian, French, English, and whatever the heck. Maybe a little bit of modern Greek, although I don't speak it. I just know a little bit. I would do that, and then I would I would love it. I would be like waiting for trepidation.
Hungarian. And you guys can do this too. This document will be linked in the description, although the document will be locked so people can't like destroy it. If you want to leave a comment about any of his languages or look into languages I don't even look into, you can leave the comment in the YouTube description below, and I encourage you to do that so people actually see his abilities in all these different languages. Or you can join my Discord, drop it in the channel that we've temporarily got devoted to this guy, and then I will move it into this document. But based on the last video, we had like 9,000 plus comments. I'm not going to be able to move them all.
Of course.
So just make sure you're only doing it for languages where we've got like no comments at all. Anyway, we're going to look at his Hungarian section right here. So basically, he screws up his pronunciation, it's off, everyone's a little bit suspicious, but if he actually did study any Hungarian at all, it would be nothing more than a couple of lessons. Now, we're going to focus on his actual languages, and when I say actual languages, I mean the languages where he has the balls to say to the government itself that he speaks these languages, and you'll notice on this list right here, there is no English. Now, as part of the academic curriculum in Brazil, you can send via a system called Lattes. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. What level you are in languages. Now, this is important because it's a criminal offense to actually lie with this thing.
Wow.
So you can see right here that he says he's good at, or he's reasonable at Chinese, good at Russian, and good at Ukrainian. So if he was actually proficient in all these languages, why are they not in this list?
Good point.
So now we can see that he's actually only feeling confident realistically about Chinese, Russian, and Ukrainian. Now, which
would be impressive in of itself if hyperpolyglots would drop the act You know what I mean? These videos, the ones he makes, the ones I make sometimes, and the reason why I react to these to give it more exposure, it's not because we are trying to be negative or we are trying to take people down. That's not what we are doing. Because if someone makes somewhere a video and says Metatron is a fraud, he does not speak Japanese, he doesn't speak English, he's reading a script, he does not know any Mandarin, and he doesn't speak Italian nor Sicilian or French. If they did that, it would be so easy. It would be like, great, that's extra clicks because I'm going to make a video and prove them wrong immediately. It's so easy. It's the easiest thing that you can defend. You know what I would say to someone who told me that? Let's go live. Find me a Japanese native speaker. Find me a Mandarin speaker, although obviously I never said I'm fluent in Mandarin, but I do speak some Mandarin and people can do that. But find me an Italian, Sicilian, Japanese, English native speakers, put them on during a live stream and record me. I'm ready anytime. We can do it tomorrow. That's how you respond. If any of these hyperpolyglots tell you, oh, they're trying to do something, take the video down, copyright claim, then it means the attack is true. And then it's well deserved. It's the easiest way to respond.
Just want to actually stress, Brazilian law provides for punishments if you falsified this information. Now, if you put a couple of languages in there, no one's really going to care. But if you did put in 40, you would have to prove it.
Yeah.
You would get investigated.
Of course.
Just something to be aware of.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we're
Let's
going to
go.
look at Mandarin Chinese. Now, for those who don't know, I am conversational in this language. So I will be able to pick out instantly if you're bullshitting.
Yeah.
And also, before we continue on, I'm just going to say that he starts with a song. He actually sings in Mandarin Chinese. Now, this was obvious why he did this. Because
to avoid the tones, because when you sing, you don't have to be precise with the tones.
Because with Mandarin, when you sing, the tones start to disappear. They become less and less important, and therefore you can become more creative with basically how you pronounce your words, and you can hide your actual level. And the second thing is, he's singing a song which is actually a Brazilian song translated into Mandarin Chinese. So obviously he feels confident with this song in his native language. He's put it into Mandarin, so he's got the idea of the basic feeling of how things go. Now I'm going to play him singing this if you're ready.
What a monumental waste of time from a linguistic perspective.
Just prepare, and then afterwards I'll critique it.
星期六在无尽，大家开始跳舞，让一个最漂亮的女孩经过，我鼓起勇气开始说话。哇哦哇哦，这样你为什么睡觉？如果我捉到你
I really don't understand why you would do this. What is this proving? What is this proving? And for some reason, someone is saying 太好了, so they think it's really good. I mean, whatever. Okay, nice.
Is that he doesn't.
Okay, sorry. I just let me get back to him because sorry about that, but I was done with that.
Okay, so
Right.
The obvious thing from this is that he doesn't know how to do tones in Mandarin Chinese, and also he doesn't know how to pronounce the actual specific sounds of the language.
Yeah.
He doesn't speak Chinese. He may have dabbled with it a tiny bit, let's say HSK1, which is like giving him probably more merit than he's actually worth here. Proves to me that he is not, let's just say, reasonable in this language. Reasonable to me would be like HSK4.
Right.
And this is nowhere near that. Cantonese next. For some reason, he decided to do Cantonese as well. I'm not even sure if he listed it as a language he speaks, but
you did, yeah.
Because the word Chinese is a very broad word, it could possibly cover Cantonese. So let's see how his Cantonese is.
我哋嘅編台會包含超過種語言，呢個係巴西第一次只係推出而來產物。
And he's not even showing his face, so he's probably reading. I don't know any Cantonese, so I can't tell. Cantonese is harder than Mandarin, though. It has even more tones. All Evildea needs to do is find a Cantonese speaker. Immediately.
Okay, so now that we've heard the Cantonese, let's have a reflection on it. Now, this is where this document comes very handy, because we can actually just jump straight to the section where someone has critiqued him on Cantonese.
Let's go.
And it sounds like to them that he's basically just reading a romanization and he doesn't have any accuracy within tones pretty much at all. But they have
of course.
so I guess that's a good thing. Okay, now we're going to look at Russian. Remember, at the beginning, he said that Russian is his favorite language. It was the first language he basically studied.
Right,
So let's
so he
find
should
out
be
if
competent.
he's actually even proficient in Russian.
Right.
Здравствуйте, ребята! Я сегодня тут для того, чтобы сказать вам очень важную вещь. При изучении языков мы должны всегда продолжать своими попытками, стараться всегда еще раз, никогда не сдаваться. Это самое важное правило. Ну, в общем, во всем в жизни, да, сдаваться нельзя. Потому что, прилагая усилия каждый день, вы обязательно достигнете своей цели, и вы будете свободно заговорить на новом иностранном языке. Я уверяю вас в этом.
Okay, now that we've explored his Russian, the comments on his Russian are actually that, you know, he's not too bad. He's probably around a B1. And that makes sense because
B1 is, you can't consider a language mastered and then become the light bringer of how you did this. If one of your best languages, probably his best language, is a B1, it means that all the other languages are what, A1? Not even A1, in fact. Why are we even giving him an A1 at this point?
that was the first language that he actually studied, and it's a language that he's proposed to the government that he studies, although he said he also learned Chinese. But he actually has learned this language. And in fact, he shows a certificate here that he got for this language in taking part in a competition. Now,
Right.
just have a look. It says 17 years old there. Now, we're going to take a little bit of a look into the certificate. So the certificate is from a competition for foreigners who are learning Russian. And basically, the reward for this competition is that the government will pay for your B1 certification
B1.
test, your
Man, he
language
got
exam.
him.
So we know he's up to the point of B1, but we don't know if he's beyond that. And for some strange reason, maybe by mistake, or maybe it's like a really symbolic of his personality overall, he lied about his age when he got the certificate. He said he was 17 years old, but in fact, to take part in this competition at the level he was, you have to be between 18 and 30. Why lie about 1 year old? I don't know. But there is a web archive link there if you want to go check that out. So we've basically established that he actually does speak Russian, at least to a B1 level. So let's take a look at his next language, Ukrainian. Now, as soon as I saw this kind of just blew me away. I was like, oh my god, what is it with hyperpolyglots and all trying to be Andrew Tate?
Yeah,
Правий, брат.
true.
Все добре, я в тебе?
Все добре, дуже дякую. Як тебе звати?
Тарас.
Дуже приємно.
So finally, he's actually speaking with someone. He should do this in all 40 languages. Also, maybe lose the sunglasses because we don't know if you're reading your answers.
Віктор.
Віктор.
Так.
Звідки ти, Віктор?
Ну, я з Бразилії.
З Бразилії?
Так.
Це ти туди переїхав?
Ні-ні.
Ну, родом ти з... Ні?
Ні, я...
А звідки українську мову знаєш?
Ну, я самостійно вивчив українську.
О,
Cool.
повага,
Seems like he
повага.
is speaking it.
Дуже подобається попрактикувати з людьми тут.
I'm actually hearing a lot of clicking during that video. I don't know what that's about. But
Right.
maybe he's just like looking at random websites while he's having a chat, or he could be literally, you know, moving down the page to look at what else he can say.
Right,
Okay, so now let's
right.
take a look at how good he is actually at Ukrainian. And as you can see, I have a lot of reviewers in here
Wow.
for pretty much all the languages. And the overall assessment of his abilities in Ukrainian is basically that he's speaking Russian, but with like a little bit of Ukrainian thrown in. And that's what he's basically doing. He knows he speaks Russian, and he's applying this to pretty much every Slavic language that he can to try and up his numbers in
I
languages
see.
that he actually speaks.
Oh, so it's kind of similar, I guess. Like when people say, I speak Italian, but then they throw in a lot of Spanish in it. I see it happen a lot, and I actually find it insulting as an Italian, unless it depends how they do it. Okay, so it depends how they do it. If it's someone who is a new learner of Italian and they make the occasional mistake and they say como estás instead of come stai, I'm not going to bite their heads off. But if it's something that they do a lot and they claim fluency in my language, then I find it disrespectful. If you say you speak Italian, speak Italian. You know what I mean? At that point, if you're not sure how you pronounce something or how we say something and the only word you can think is in Spanish, well, maybe say it. You know, you could say, I'm sorry, I don't know how to say that in Italian. I know Spanish is this. How do you guys say it in Italian? Because often they're similar. But you know how often I see that? And I've seen it happen even with very high-profile super polyglots that say they speak Italian and then half the things they say are in Spanish. I'm sorry, you don't speak Italian at that point. You approximate Italian. They are different languages. They are strongly related, but they're different languages. I wouldn't claim to speak Spanish and then I just add an S to every Italian word and just say la pizzas, las pasta, buongiornos. I mean, come on. You know what I mean? So if it's a genuine attempt at communication, no problem with that, 100%. But if people say, no, I'm fluent in Italian, oh, yeah, and then they start going, buenos dias, I mean, sorry, no, that's not Italian. El teléfonos, speaking of it, look at this, las Coca-Colas, come on. Anyways, yeah, excellent job as always. Evildea does a phenomenal job. Anyways, let me see his conclusion so I don't react to the entire thing, but I want to see what he says at the end. Let's go.
Video, I want to say this. Stop with your bullshit about being
Yeah.
a hyperpolyglot. Don't think you're safe by just speaking in Portuguese and not appearing in the English world. Anyone who's actually interested in languages will learn your language eventually, find you, and call you out for your bullshit, which is exactly what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
Instead, what you should do is focus on actually just improving your Russian, maybe, you know, learning Ukrainian to a proper level along the side of that, and getting a job related to that. Maybe 40 years from now, when you've got 10 or 15 languages actually under your belt.
But no, 5 is plenty, mate. And I would say go for 5 if you're already bilingual by birth. You don't need 15 languages.
Then you can go out and start selling courses. You're a young guy who's like,
Right.
I can't remember, 20 years old or something. This is not the time to try be the hyperpolyglot.
Yeah.
Giga Chad, I don't know, Andrew Tate of the language world.
Right.
It's not going to work out for you. Now, unfortunately for you, you have been caught out. And there's nothing you can do about this at this point. The best thing you can do if you actually speak all these languages, which we know you don't, is to make long-form videos with natives actually speaking these languages
Yep.
without a bunch of jump cuts. Now, if that's not you, I suggest you take down your websites before everyone gets even more juicy details about you and stop trying to sell this bullshit online. Okay, that's pretty much. I'll see you all in the next video.
Evildea, you are brutal.